back here with another review. Today I am going to be reviewing and installing the Hansshow, it's right here, this is the Alcantara carbon fiber yoke steering wheel for the Model 3. It's also for the Model Y. Comes with this cover for the airbag, so I'll be doing that as well. You can see inside here there's no guts to it, so we have to transfer the guts from this steering wheel right here to the new one right here, and so we'll be doing that. There's a couple steps that we need to do, but just before we get started, I'll just let you know that the link for this is in the description, and if you're not comfortable with touching the steering wheel piece, just reach out to a local Hansshow authorized installer in your area. So here in Vancouver, I'd recommend Jeff from Teslafy. He did some work on my car in the past, and I was really happy with that. So I definitely would recommend Jeff. He does a great job. He does it out of his home, very reasonable price, and he does it quite quickly. So anyway, before we get started, a couple of things we need to talk about on this. You are going to want to disconnect your battery and the power piece behind the seat here, and I'll go through that process as well. But it's very simple. There's a, depending on your car, mine has a 10mm Allen key for holding the steering wheel on. Some have Torx screw nut. I'm not sure the exact size, but I checked mine out. I pulled the airbag off last night, and mine's a 10mm Allen key, so I had to go out, run out and pick up that Allen key there. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get this out of the way. It's fairly straightforward. The most tedious part is transferring the stuff that's on the original steering wheel to the new steering wheel. Now, one of the comments I saw on their website was these switches are not illuminated at night. The ones that are on your Tesla are. So these have, the Tesla has like a metal steering or wheel to it. This is rubberized. The components inside of it, potentially this whole piece comes off right here. And so I'm thinking that I could take the wheels from the original one that would probably have the lighting and put it into this one. So when we get it on the bench and we start taking that apart, my goal is to take the parts that are original to the Tesla steering wheel and placing them in this one right here. Other than that, this is the heater wire. I'm hoping I can transfer everything over. Again, if you're not comfortable doing this, just reach out to your local Hansshow authorized installer in your neighborhood. Anyway, first step is let's turn the power off on the car, and then we'll get this airbag off, and we'll take the steering wheel off and then hit the bench. Okay, I'll go do the power thing. I've powered down the car. I've opened up every window, door. I've got the hood and the trunk open, so I have access to everything. So all we need to do is pull this off, take the airbag off, and so what we have is a Allen key. It's all you need to do is push this in. There's on the bottom of the steering wheel, there's a hole, and we just stick that in there, and then we're pressing against the spring to release the airbag. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll go on to the next step. So here we go. I'll just stick that in there, and you push up on the spring until it releases. And you do it on the other side. And what I found is you kind of do it on both sides. There you go. And there we go. So that was fairly straightforward. And you can see right here, the airbag is held in with this yellow plug. And so all we need to do is we take a pick or a screwdriver, and we're going to lift up on the bottom one and then use our finger to press on the top tab, and then we're just going to gently wiggle this out. There we go. So that's all there is to that. So you can see here, here's the airbag, and we have a cover that's going to be replacing the original one here. So we'll go through that step on the bench. Now on the steering wheel, there's a plug that controls all the wheels. So we're going to go ahead and pull that one out as well. So just push up on that top tab and wiggle it out again. There we go. And that's that one there. So we have those all done. Now we have on my car, it's a 10 millimeter hex, and I'm using a 1/2 inch ratchet. Now I did loosen mine originally, so I'm not going to have to use it, but I did use a 1/2 inch breaker bar. This is, I think it's an 18 inch or 2 foot one, and it did take a bit of effort to get this off, but we'll go ahead and we'll just take this one off now. So when you're doing it, you're going to put your legs up against the wheel to hold it secure, and then you're just going to turn the wheel. Once you have that done, pretty straightforward. You're going to pull off the nut. Again, it's a hex. It has some yellow thread lock on it. Well, I have some red, so I'll be using that. And then on the steering wheel, you need to pull the steering wheel off like this, but because it's a spline, you have to actually knock it off. So the best way to do it is hit it on the 4 corners just to loosen it up, and then you can just wiggle it off, and there you go. So that's this part right here is the wheel. So what we're going to do is, you can see here, we're going to take all the guts from this wheel and we're going to put it on the yoke. So this is the heater units back down here, I believe, and then these buttons will stay. Now the difference between this wheel and the Hansshow wheel is, in their description they say these do not have a light or don't illuminate. So I'm going to see if I can place these ones in that new steering wheel. They have a metal feel to them. The yoke version wheels that are there, they have rubber feeling. I checked the switches back and forth. They all kind of feel the same compared to this, but I just figure out if I can put the original Tesla switches in, I'm going to do that just to eliminate any issues. So anyway, let's get on the bench. Okay, so let's start by looking at the differences between the two steering wheels. We can see from the inside they're the same, but definitely a different design. So what we need to do is, I'll just put this out of the way, is the first thing we need to do is get this part out, these plastic components. What we're going to do is we're going to flip it over to the back side, and you can see inside there's these plastic clips on each of them. That's that piece right here. That's these things, and we need to release those. So we'll just go ahead and poke those out. So just poke them out. That's one. So that one's done. Let's see if we can show you this. Just pushing it down. And that one's done. Same with this one. Pull that way. And there. So those plugs are undone. And what we want to do is get it out of the way, so we have access to those torque screws that are down there. And so that's a T25 down there. So there's 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3, and 4. They're T25s. We'll just loosen those off. And since we're going to be transferring this hardware to this one, let's take those 4 screws out as well. What that allows us to do is that this whole housing is held on there, so we just need to pull it up gently. Just got to be slow and gentle. It is plastic and carbon fiber. So we don't want to break anything there. Oh, there we go. So there we go. That's the inner guts to it. So you can see the wheels are held on with very small, that's a very small torque screw. Not sure I even have that size. These are Tesla though. So I'll put this to the side and we will do the same over here. We will gently lift up on this. So I have all those undone. There we go. It is a tight fit. Oh, I see. It's hooking on the. There we go. It's hooking on the cloth here, or the leather, faux leather. Same on this side, I'm assuming. There we go. So it was being held up by this piece right here. We're just pulling this out so that we can unplug it. So it's the black that comes out from this side right here. And that's that cable right here. Okay, so we've got the original one from this wheel, and then we've taken this one off previously, and we're turning them over, and we can see that all this stuff has to be transferred over to here. So this one controller has to go over, and then these two ones that are built on, I was looking at taking them off, but that torque screw down there is a T6, and I don't have a T6, I've got a T8, so I can't do that. So we'll take this off here with the T10. And I like doing it where I have both of these things side by side so that when I'm replacing them, they're exactly the same. So we have the two here. So this module comes off. You can see this whole thing's loose except for the two connectors, so we'll just take those off. So there's a little button in there, it looks like. There we go. A little tight. And then same on this side. Okay. So we have those two items there, and then we should be able to lift this whole piece off. Like that, and place it over here. I'm going to place this underneath, place that into that one. Bring this over, plug it in. So this is in place, and then we're just going to put that back in place. Now, it did decide to start raining and my car is wide open, so we're gonna have a wet car when we get back there. And then this comes through that spot. And it can only plug in one way, so it goes like this. And then that gets tucked up there. There we go. Just gotta wedge it in there, it looks like. There we go. So we just wedge that in there. That's exactly how it was before. And then this comes up here. And you have to make sure everything falls behind. And then we're just going to go ahead and lock this into place. So this is the part where we bring this back down. So that looks about right. They're all lined up. So we'll go ahead and we'll install those four nuts. Okay, so we have those. This clip's going to go in there. So now we just got to line up these lockings and stick those in the holes. Just be gentle with them, they are plastic. Make sure that they're locked in, and they all are locked in. Okay, so that's the spring mechanism for the horn. Looks like that's good. So there's the whole wheel right there. Let's go ahead and get this in the car and get that out of the rain. Okay, so we've got the airbag here. You can see this is the original airbag. It has a cover. You can see on the sides it just snaps off. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to take this cover off and we're going to put this cover on. So we're just going to slide that on until it locks into place. So just slowly move it around. We got those locked in. Those are locked in. There we go. So everything is locked into place. Now, I'm not sure how to get it off without destroying it, but that's what I did. And we'll go ahead and install this in the car. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and install the steering wheel. We just finished this piece. I'm going to work on the airbag next, but I just wanted to get this in the car so I could maybe roll up the windows. It's raining out here. Anyway, so it's very straightforward. What we're going to do is we're just going to line this up. And then once it's in place, wow, it's pretty low. Just press it in as far as you can. Okay, so I've got some blue Loctite that I'm going to put on the nut here, just for security. I'm just going to do a dab like that. There's a bit on there. And then we'll hand tighten the nut. Okay, and we'll take a torque wrench, which I've set it at 45 foot-pounds. I've seen a few people use 45. It's not a lot, but I do have Loctite on there, so go ahead and put that in place, and then lock my legs there. There we go. 45 foot-pounds. Got everything in place. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take this wire right here and just plug it in. So that's everything here. So let's go ahead and get this thing in here because it's the last thing so I can get these windows up. So we're going to take the yellow plug and we're just going to go ahead and plug that in there. Okay, so we've got both plugs plugged in, and this is like the easiest part. We just push this in again and just snap it into place. Let's go ahead and I'll go out there and plug in all the power. Okay, so everything seems to be in place. The thing I've noticed is it does kind of go down here. Kind of looks a little weird upside down, but that's fine. You cannot hold it anymore like you would a normal steering wheel like that. So you kind of like, this is where I'm going to have to hold it now. And well, let's go for a drive and just see exactly how I feel about it. Anyway, it does look good, especially with this red stitching. Red stitching with a red car looks really good. I've checked the buttons, so the buttons are actually working. I've had the Hansshow Yoke for a week or so already, and I really love this thing. It's really comfortable on the highway. You just put your hand down here and let it rest, or you can, if you're a 10 and 2, you can now become a 9 and 3 kind of person. You missed this piece here, but it opens up this whole space completely. Now with the Hansshow swivel, it's lowered this down. Now this is missing the top, so it's totally wide open now. You can see so much better. It's just a wide open screen here. Now, the majority of my driving is done with my hand resting on the bottom here. I can demonstrate a couple of the turns that I would normally do. You're not going to do the hand over thing any longer, but it works really well. There is a bit of a learning curve for in parking lots, but other than that, it's, you know, all the other stuff outweighs it for sure. And I will show you a couple things that I find really interesting when it comes to this yoke steering wheel. What you can do is just turn like this using that. There's a little knob here, and you can hold on to that here and just turn. So if you're going to take a left turn, I would do that. And then if I'm going to do a right turn, you can do this. If you want to do another left turn a little bit more aggressive, you can grab down on the bottom and turn. Like if you're going to do a U-turn. Now you can't just let the wheel go. There's nothing to hold on to, but you can definitely do it that way. Again, just crank it over. So in general, I really like this steering wheel. Now I'm going to go through a couple things now. Let's go to steering here. You can see that I have the steering wheel all the way up and I have it all the way in. And that gives me plenty of space here. If I want to bring it out, it's actually coming out and up higher. So then I could lower the steering wheel down. But if I lower it all the way to the bottom, what I'll find is I'm kind of touching my legs, and especially if I go all the way back in, then I can't really turn. So that's just something to be aware of. I personally like it higher and all the way in, or I could just bring it out a bit. Now for parking, I'll show you a couple things in regards to that. So if I get out of the car, normally you would have the steering wheel with your wheels faced forward like this. So this is the wheel here. So I'll go ahead and I'll get out of the car, and you'll notice because it's a little bit longer here, it tends to get in the way. So you can see that was it was okay. And when I come back in, I just have to make sure that I get kind of my leg slides underneath it. But the one thing you can do that you can't do on a round steering wheel is you can take this piece here and just get it completely out of the way. So for me to do that, and what I'm doing now most of the time is I turn the wheel like that, and this opens up this whole piece. And you can see that was a whole lot easier getting in and out. And when you get in with this thing out of the way, it feels really weird. It's almost like you're getting in on the passenger seat. But it works really well. The only thing is it kind of looks a little weird if you're parked, but you know, if you're worried about looks, leave it like this. You could leave it upside down. Maybe people would not notice it as much. Again, you're getting all that space. I prefer it on an angle, so I'll put it like that. So I really like this. I did replace the wheels. I couldn't do it initially. There's a small screw. There's two small screws that hold this switch in, and I thought they were a 6 torque or a T6. They're actually a T7. So I was able to take those out, and I replaced them with the steel instead of the rubber ones, the original ones that were on my original wheel. I like the feel of it. It doesn't have like a little clicky sound. I know the other ones were Tesla as well, but these feel better to me. And again, I really like the feel of this Alcantara suede leather. So if you found this video interesting, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and then ring that bell so when I create other videos like this one, you'll be notified when I upload those. Anyway, thanks for watching.